What's going on, everybody? It is February 1st, 2024. Daily log episode over NQ, live stream review, and kind of predictions going into NFP tomorrow. Looking at the weekly time frame, this is going to be our focus point for tomorrow, at least in my opinion, going into NFP and what the conditions are presenting themselves like right now. In my opinion, we're going to see higher prices. I'd like to see dollar index to drop off lower. And the reason for that is because the higher time frame inefficiency here. This is your parent for value gap. So if you're just looking at order flow on a weekly time frame, this is how we're gathering narrative and bias and what we should be looking for. When times aren't aligned with it, like today in the morning session, I wasn't particularly sure if we were going to expand away from this or drop off lower. And do the protocol before NFP, I don't trade it. So you guys saw that. I will show how we closed out the day today. It was pretty interesting. I ended up paper trading the market on close macro, and I'll show the executions for that. It was pretty fun. But if we drop down into a daily time frame in here, we reached above on the closure of today, above the volume imbalance. So that's pretty interesting. I want to see tomorrow if we reach down into that and utilize that as support. It is a little bit of ways away in terms of how many handles and relatively far away, because if we reached all the way down into there, I'd be weary of the idea of trying to push that higher. I would like it just to maintain going higher. We may be stuck inside a consolidation. NFP is low probability in general if the conditions are low probability overall. So I'm just not sure. There is bearish SMT with ES taking its high. Same with Dow. So I'm just going to see how NFP plays out. I'm not going to have a super hardline bias going into tomorrow. I would prefer higher prices overall. I think the narrative for it, at least the bias liquidity, is easier to spot. We'll go down to a 4-hour time frame in here. You can see the relative equal highs. That's really what I'm looking at, but we could just stay inside of this dealing range, inside of this high down to this low. There's no guarantee that we're going to run for the buy side tomorrow. That's not a guarantee that we're going to do that. So you have to be wary of that. And the reason I'm stating that is because this large impulsive leg higher, it wasn't a slow run up. It was a very fast impulsive leg. So what is that going to do to retail quote unquote traders is make them chase this, especially going into tomorrow. If we stay heavy on the premium side, we may reach for the buy side, but this is, to me, more or less experience telling me this could maintain inside of this dealing range and not actually break out by tomorrow. So we have to be wary of that. Anytime you just have a random displacement higher, it does make me weary, but this could be a market maker buy model. I do see this pretty clearly where we have a original consolidation here, accumulation, reaccumulation, smart money reversal, low risk buy, and then we have our first / second stage to dig up into the buy side liquidity tomorrow. Again, everything's going to have to be played by the minute and by the moment. Just going over today in general, I don't think there was a lot of opportunities. Obviously, you saw that if you're on the live stream. But I want to make note, this is the new day opening gap from yesterday's open to close. Look at how we're utilizing this on the 1 hour. And then the market on close, we just delivered extremely fast to the upside. So if we gravitate back to the current new week opening gap, it's not the best sign. Anytime a weekly profiles consistently keep returning back to the new week opening gap, I can tell you that you're inside of a consolidational profile, because if you keep returning back to basically the weekly open, what is that telling you? That it's an indecisive week. It continuously keeps traveling back to that equilibrium of whatever range you're in. So this was Monday here, gravitated away from it, dropped down lower. So we're kind of just in the same area, not moving away from it. Clearly one-sided. Inversion, fair value gap there on the 1 hour. So this would be in support or in confluence with this 1 hour inefficiency there. So if we're still residing inside of this area come tomorrow, it's the area I'd look for price to obviously reverse out of and move higher into the buy side. New day opening gap there as well. So annotate that on your charts. Let's dig down into today. really the whole morning session was lethargic, choppy, not doing much. So that's something I want to spend mental capital on and be a part of. And to me, it's better to just sit on the sidelines, do nothing, and not even look at the charts. Most of these days, if I wasn't live streaming, I wasn't doing the YouTube stuff, I wouldn't be on the charts. I'd be off doing something else, waiting for probably next week, and just waiting for better opportunities, something that's easier. I don't have to risk capital or mental capital being inside of here and taking a trade just because I'm on a live stream. But in general today, we were looking for the buy side liquidity there on NQ, ended up getting tagged. We dropped back down, took out sell side. This is a new day opening gap. And then we were off to kind of the races. I mean, in here throughout PM and lunch, it was just really back and forth delivery. It would have been hard to manage a position inside of here, at least in my personal opinion, because if you entered in this fair value gap there, could have got a small run above the high, but it rallies back down, comes back into it. This is now an inversion. So you can see that we just barely tagged outside the discount level. That's the 15-minute and even the 5-minute. But I will show you the market on close macro and what I was executing in today. So by the time I was just looking at charts, this is all paper trading, by the way, but it was still a really good study for me, is we were dropping down into a 5-minute inefficiency here. And when I went down to a 1-minute time frame, right inside of that 5-minute, you can refine it into a 1-minute fair value gap there, which is inside of a discount, taking out sell side liquidity here. So I'm buying underneath the sell side liquidity. We displace higher, reject off of this bullish order block. So this last down close candle here is your bullish order block. There's a small fair value gap. I know you can't see it because of the executions and the labels, but there's one right in here. So my stop loss was going underneath that. And then we had the market on close. So this is my 3 o'clock hour, basically the last hour trading, opens, and then we displaced higher. This area here is your bullish breaker. You have a low, a high, a lower low, then a higher high. So last up close candle is your bullish breaker inside of a inefficiency here. So a couple confluences, good things, just pyramided again inside of it. And then I took out at the new week opening gap up here. And I was really kind of just taking this range. Oops, I don't have standard deviation. So I had -1 up here. And this is, to me, more or less just getting my reps in, prepping for something like this to unfold during the silver bullet window. And if you're able to recognize this, paper trade it, easily understand the logic, you can transfer that into any time zone that you're actually putting live funds or whatever you're putting behind, your challenge evaluation. To me, I don't trade the market on close, but I do like studying it. And you can see it was a very large displacement today. I didn't anticipate this large of a run. Of course, I participated in it, but you can't anticipate something like this back here. I was only expecting a run above the buy side, but as soon as I started to see the expansion, then I started to anticipate a little bit more. You can say we're closed and open today, very large new day opening gap we can work with tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. Overall, NFP, if you're a newer, even myself, I don't know if I'm going to be participating tomorrow. I've only taken one trade this week, well, technically 2, but I've only traded 1 day, which was Tuesday, which was a loss. So I'm trying to keep the risk as very minimal on these weeks where there's news event drivers, low probability, at least in my eyes, where I'd rather risk my money in a better environment, like next week. So hopefully I've been able to demonstrate that this week. I know sometimes it can be very boring and you want to do something, you want action, but the best thing to do is to play defense. So that's going to be it for today. I mean, as far as dollar index, we're still inside of consolidation. So the only thing that we got was a decent closure lower. I would elect to believe we're going to see probably lower prices now due to that closure. So anticipate tomorrow. Look at do you remember these relative equal lows that we were discussing a few weeks ago or even last week? These in here, we may want to run for that tomorrow. So keep an eye on it. due to the closure, to me, it seems like we're going to want to seek sell side. If we're really wanting to gravitate higher, it should have done it today or yesterday on FOMC, at least in my eyes. So those two levels is what I'm going to be looking for going into tomorrow with NFP, the volume imbalance. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until tomorrow, I'll be live streaming for NFP. Good luck and good trading, everybody.